What is up, guys? It's CJ here, and welcome back to episode 7 of the Foundation Challenge. I'm calling it Surrender. We have a lot to dive into for today's video, so we're going to jump right into it. I have written here, recognize you are not the source of outcomes, only the vessel for aligned action. What does that mean? It means that we are not the source of the outcomes after we place a trade. That is up to the market. That is up to a higher power. This is energy in motion. And we are just the vessels for aligned action. That meaning that we are just in control of what we can control, which is our execution, our edge, and our mental systems that we are putting in place that make us aligned. So we are going to jump into why we are talking about surrender. We are going to get into the psychology about today's episode. We are going to then dive into a lot of trades that we have taken. We are going to update the journal. If you're familiar with this series, we are on a 20 trade challenge, and spoiler alert, we have taken all the trades in the challenge. So we are going to look at ICP, we are going to look at Hyperliquid, ZEC, and maybe a couple others. So last episode, we talked about the shadow self at length. The shadow self is about facing resistance. Surrender is about transcending it. The core concept of this episode, trading mastery begins when you stop trying to control the market and start aligning with it. We want to move from fighting and resisting, grinding, hustling, to aligning and attracting. A key here, the shift from survival trading, which is lack, fear, forcing outcomes, to signal and co-creation trading, which is attraction and alignment. Surrender isn't giving up. It's the moment when ego steps aside and awareness takes command. It's when the need to be right dissolves into the willingness to flow. The flow state is something that Mark Douglas talks about a lot, and it's something that I feel is very important to get into for very successful trading. You know, when you're in the entry process, being able to tap into that flow state is invaluable. So we're going to talk about ego versus flow state. The ego tries to impose will. Flow arises when ego dissolves. Ego is here for outcomes. It's here to force things. It wants things its way. Flow arises when you're just in the present and you are just trading your system. In trading, control looks like revenge trading, overanalysis, and emotional attachment to outcomes. Flow is observation, readiness, and release. Trading the chart that's in front of you, not the one that you want. So, you know, sometimes this happens to me for sure, where you're watching a model for a long time and you've given it your time, but the chart is not showing you is not showing you what you need, whether it's a bad break, leaving liquidity, and you still take the break. We saw that this week, great avoided trade on USoil. Mark Douglas says the market is neutral, and he's right. It does not know or care where you may have entered, where your stop loss is, nothing. The market does not care. It doesn't care about your buyings, your bias, your feelings, or the effort you put in, like I mentioned. It doesn't care how long you stare at a chart. If it's not showing its hand, it's not going to show its hand. True surrender means you stop taking it personally. You execute your edge without expectation and let the probabilities play out. That's been something I've been really trying to do with this challenge. So releasing all expectations of the trades and just letting the data pile up to show the probabilities playing out over time. And this challenge is just honestly the perfect example of that. We went negative our first 10 trades, and you're going to see the journal now. We're far from that. So for the little meditations, Marcus Aurelius, Stoic guys, I threw in here the Stoic principle, amor fati. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but basically loving your fate. Love that win or lose, it is for your highest good on your path to your ultimate goal. Everything that happens, win, loss, draw, is exactly what you need to evolve as a trader. And I've seen this many times where I'm taking a loss, but you know what? That loss is showing me what I need to evolve, to become a better trader. I needed that loss. It's almost, especially at this risk profile that I've been using, or even just at the start, it's more advantageous to get the learning from the losses. It's more valuable sometimes. Obviously, we don't want to be losing trades, but when we do, it's very key that we learn from them. I put here, this is key to understand. It took me some time. It took me a lot of time to accept this because I wanted things right away. You know, my ego wanted me to be successful right away, even though it's almost a year since starting actually trading. Each stop out is feedback from the quantum field, not punishment, showing you where you need to improve or giving you what you need at the time to learn and evolve. Surrender means loving the process so much that the outcome becomes secondary. So I'm going to show you a process and a mental model that I've been developing, but using that along with the TA and, you know, even talking with other traders, the camaraderie, loving that so much that win or lose, you know, we were doing the right things, and that's just another step on our path to our goals and to be profitable. So we're going to tap into here the flow state psychology. When you surrender control, your nervous system drops out of fight or flight. This is the sympathetic nervous system that you sometimes need for survival, like if a tiger jumps out, or you see it all the time in today's modern world. This keeps the body tight and not able to recover, not able to widen its focus. When we surrender control to a higher power, we gain back control. Our awareness can widen again, and we can be in the parasympathetic state where we're relaxed and calm. I've already written that, kind of free of that. The charts start to look different because your perception widens. Exactly. You can see things more clearly. You're not trying to force an outcome where we can maybe see. I will show you a great example on hype in this video, where if I would have widened my perception a bit, I would have been able to see the order flow and the structure more clearly and the positioning of this trade. You know, in the model, it looks pretty good, but if you zoom out and widen the perception, I will show you where I could have done better. Stillness. This is something we tap into in meditation and train. Stillness is not inaction, it's pure listening. We practice stillness in meditation, and we can tap into it during our daily lives as well. So I've been huge on meditation as of recently and for a long time now, and stillness is so important to be able to clear the chaos, clear the noise. In the markets, we're trying to decode the chaos, and sometimes, especially in the execution process, I find you need to tap into the stillness and just be calm and execute. When you surrender to the chart, you're listening to the market as an intelligent mirror. This is when signal clarity happens. And for those not familiar with signal as a word, it is pure aligned truth. It is basically your highest calling. It is when you're at your peak, and you can tap into that in flow state. So there's the psychology side to build some foundation in our minds, a new data set. And I heard you guys come here for the TA. So we are going to absolutely dissect ICP here. A big 2 trades. We took 2 trades on here in the challenge, and we are going to fully break these down. We had a little intro with Bitcoin, but here is where we are really going to break down some trades here. So you can see we are coming into supply on ICP. Now, we've been curling up, leaving a lot of sell side liquidity, so I was tempted to look at this like a range right here. So we're watching this range right here. Put that on the chart, just like this. So we're watching this range. I was looking for deviations into this supply, but we end up pushing up higher, just leaving this liquidity right here. We put in some structure demand as well on the move up. But we blast up a little too high. A little too high for any sort of deviation, and now I was tempted to look at this from a PO3 perspective. So, what do you know? We do come into a range up here. Put a light range on. So we got initial range starting point, and deviation 1. You can see we're starting to build a liquidity curve in this model as well. It was a little sketchier, I would say, right here as we're getting onto the ones. I'm going to play out price a little bit here and see what we get. Boom. So market structure being king, we already have a 1, 2, 3 here. Forgot to put that on the charts. It definitely appears on the lower time frame. So I forget if there was some sort of POI here. Not really. Not really. So we were watching this market structure right here, knowing that we're already a confirmed model. Seeing as this is kind of a 1, 2, 3 as well, using this as extreme liquidity. It was a little sketchier though, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie, but when you see this aggressive break right here, I believe we're entering on this break, stop above this high. As we're creating supply in the process, it is on the lower time frame for sure. It is on the lower time frame for sure. I can't remember exactly where my entry was. I think I might have caught it somewhere around there. On the pullback on this break of structure right here. And I'll show you the journal. I kind of said I wasn't trading any more PO3s for the journal, but I couldn't ignore this, and I was too curious about the market. So here in the manipulation phase, we entered somewhere around a 9.5. I think it was a little lower because I think it was a 9 in total. Let's see if we can move this down a little more accurate. Something like this. Something right around there. We were catching it. Right like that. So we can set up our PO3 so you can see the full idea here. Where I didn't really say it too clearly, but I'm assuming everyone is familiar with PO3s because this is more advanced. This is advanced TCT. So where's our manipulation phase? Right there. And then we are anticipating on a breakdown here to sweep this liquidity, where we would have our expansion phase right like this. Put this at the bottom. Right like this. So we're going to play out price here, and we're going to see what happens. So we're playing this PO3. We enter on the manipulation phase, clean entry. Now we're going to play it out here, and we'll see what we get. Kind of come up for a little retest. Like, you know, I like to play it slower, kind of think about the psychology as we are in the trade, if we were watching it, what we're seeing. So we start to break down here, and a hard break back inside confirms the PO3. So that's what we're watching for. We want a confirmation of this PO3. But what we end up getting here is a mitigation of our local model. And now right here is where I came to the charts. Yes, this is exactly where our entry was, basically. I think we nailed that. But we end up getting a range against us here, right like this. You know what, we'll make this a regular range. So we end up getting an accumulation range against us. So we fail to break down right here, and then we take that low right here, getting this accumulation against us. We haven't done a ton of trade management in this challenge, but given our entry is right here and we confirm on this break of structure, I'm not going to go to the lower time frame right now to show it, but there was a break of structure right here confirming this lower time frame model. So we'll put that on the chart here. We get a a breaking structure back to bullish with a nice looking model 1 here. Low time frame obviously, but to protect our capital, we go with a break even stop right here. So if this accumulation wants to fail, I'm in. I'm happy to make some money in the shorts, but we also have to protect our capital. So we're going to stop to break even. There is supply right here. I don't think I missed it. There is supply right here, but I've seen this a couple times where when you're not really getting follow through, majors aren't really getting confluence, bullish coin like ICP has been, you could see that aggressive pump at the start when we were on the higher time frame. I just did not like it, and my spidey senses were going off. My intuition was going off, so stop to break even, and we'll see if we break down. No, in this case, we end up going higher. So our play ends up working out, and it was the best play for us. So you get a little fees or whatever, minus 1% is absolutely nothing. And that's not the 1% we talk about. This is, in this case, maybe 20 cents, maybe less, 10 cents. Yeah, so we get stopped at break even. No big deal. No big deal. Keep this really small just on the chart. No big deal. Let's see what we get. Happy about that trade management. You know, nothing more we could have done. So we're gonna play out price here. I'm gonna go a little faster now to see how we develop. There's been a theme for me where if I have an idea, sometimes I don't see it through if the idea continues to form. I switch to other coins. I don't know, I find myself somewhere else. But in this case, we keep an eye on ICP. And we're gonna see how price ends up developing. So at this stage, we're gonna pause it right here. What we can see is we come into a range. That was not what we needed. We come into a nice range like this. We go higher, and we can see we have a model 1 forming here. Initial range starting point, deviation 1, 2, and now price comes right into our extended model POI, this beautiful structure supply right there, and that OBIF. So zooming out on the chart, where are we now? We've gone higher above our supply and we've swept this liquidity. And we've come into, we've actually wicked above this. We've taken this high. So we've taken another high. We'll just kind of put this high on the chart right here. Taking a swing point. Sweeping any stop losses that were here from this initial move down. So now when we come back to the chart, let's look if there is an entry for us. So what can we see? We're coming into supply. Let's clean this up. We're going to pull our volume profile, see if that tells us anything. Doesn't really tell us anything. We got a lot of volume down here. Is that the weekend? Kind of Friday right here. Just kind of Friday PA. Nothing too crazy. Our volume profile is not giving us any clues as to what is going on. But let's see if the local price action is showing us anything. Well, on our way into this range, and you can see how good this supply zone is right here. Overlapping, you got that lower time frame structure supply that we're always looking for as just a much stronger POI. Deserves a little bit of depth to it. So we have this amazing POI that also has that extreme liquidity right before it, and that's what we like to see. We like to see just a perfect extreme liquidity right before amazing extreme supply POIs. So I'm looking to short when I see this. What else do we see? We have another small range forming right like this. So we can be looking for a TCT in TCT type situation where we have a local model here as well. Right like this. Not going to put these taps on, but you can see. So we're not necessarily just playing this local model, we're using it as confluence to get in on the bigger model. So I'm going to play out price slowly here and see what we get. Come up here. And there we take that extreme liquidity of the local model, right like that. Now, here's our market structure low, right here on the ones. So this is the market structure low I'm watching. And boom, aggressive break right there. As soon as I saw this, enter somewhere around here. Can we get our short position? Right there. Stop above this high. No need to come higher. We're playing this local model like this, where we have even a local return to zone. Like this. I'm gonna take that off. But enter there with a TCT and TCT confluence, targeting this low. RR must have caught more of a retest. RR was a 4. So right there on this break of structure, confirming our model with a TCT in TCT. Absolute perfection. Absolute perfection right there. And let's see how price reacts to it. So here's our model. I always like to zoom out after getting in a trade. It's like, okay, like here's our model. Do we like to be in it? Just an absolutely beautiful model. I don't know what time frame I want to see this on, but let's play out price here. So we get that sell off, complete the local model. Then what do we have? Well, we have this market maker supply left in this POI. So this is our new extreme POI, our new extreme supply. Turn that down a little bit. And keep playing out the price here. So we're chilling. I actually entered this on my phone because I was at the beach. BitUnix, shout out BitUnix. They have a really, really nice entering process that I really enjoy. So, I think there was, I don't know what happened to anyone who was, I was watching for this retest right here, and we get it perfectly. The market structure coming in here. So what does our system say to do? We'll look at the 1 minute market structure here. So we get really nice market structure coming in here. This goes higher, unfinished candle right here. I like to add it as a little confluence when you see your market structure low as a UNF. It's very low time frame. I'm not sure the significance, but I like to point it out. Just a little UNF right there. Aggressive break right there, confirming this entry point. So on this break right here, I move my stop loss from here. So stop loss was here. Put that on the chart. Now to here, reducing my risk. And then I'm adding the risk back on this break. So raising my RR. I think it ended up being a 5. Oh no, calculating it wrong because I didn't move it. Ended up being a 5, so just adjusting the RR to something like this. Don't know the exact calculations, just moving your average price. We were in here, we enter more here and move the stop loss. So now we're rocking a 5 with this entry. we had some supply created right here, and we're gonna see some cinematics here. So we had some little low time frame supply created right here. And there we mitigated. So decently close to getting stopped out. This was a decision point. So trading is all about making decisions. It seems like at its core basis. See, this slightly sweeps the high on Bybit, not equal highs. I'm extremely tempted to trail my stop loss. And in this case, I make the decision to trail my stop to this high because we've mitigated extreme supply. What I've had happen a lot of times, and this is going to be a little weird, and I'm going to learn from it. Stop price here for a second. I'm going to learn from it. I didn't attach it right to this high. I wanted to move it, but I left it floating around this high right here. You may be thinking, well, why would you even move it, right? I kind of asked myself in hindsight the same question, and I'm here trying to dissect it a little bit with you guys. But I float it above this high just in case we wick it ever so slightly and go down. I've seen it happen to me at least 3 times. I remember Ton and Near, 2 trades there that just wicked a retest high that I was on that was valid and then just immediately sold off it. So I floated it. In hindsight, maybe should have just left it there. But we are now getting a sell-off from this retest. Let's zoom out and look at our model, how it's developed. Well, I never had it on the chart, but our RTZ can now continue into this point, making it extremely nice. So here's the model we're working with now. We're now rocking a 5RR since moving our stop loss and adding back our risk. Now we're going to play out the model here a little bit more. So stop loss is here. Looking for it to flush. It's a perfect opportunity. Thought we were going to break down. What do? Wick this high. Coming insanely close, and you may not even believe me. Let me see. Don't ask me why my candles are like this. Here is the Bybit chart. I've changed them back to default, do not worry. Here is our stop loss, no buy. We did not get stopped out. Arguably could have floated it higher. But just for the cinematics, I don't know. We're talking about some interesting stuff in this video. This was a little supernatural to me. I don't even understand how this is possible. 1 tick higher and we are stopped out. 1 tick. Explain that. It's unexplainable. Either way, price comes up, wicks this high, and then what does it do? What does it do? Absolutely sells off aggressively. Sells off extremely aggressively. There was a lower time frame SMT with Bitcoin and ETH, but placing more importance on the higher time frames. So wicks that high. Don't even know how we're still in this trade. What do we learn? Keep it above this main point. This is a main extension tap point. Keep it there. But in this case, someone has our backs and we stay in the trade. Price sells off aggressively. And at this point, I'm thinking we are about to catch a dub on trade 19. So, gonna let it play out here. And right there, we hit our take profit. Right there, we hit our take profit. Boom. The way I'm playing this is I took 71% at the technical target, realizing 3.4 RR with 29%, 30% basically running on this trade. I don't know, I said it about Sol. Could have been one of my favorite trades I've ever taken, just due to the management, moving our stop loss, the local model, and then obviously the cinematic finish there. I can't really script it any better. I will remember this trade potentially forever. I don't know. It was sparked something inside me for sure. So just having your idea fail, sticking with it, going over, and getting it done in the end. So we're going to update the journal next, and we're going to see our trades. Last episode we ended on a shadow model on Aster. We followed that up with, the shadow might have been still running show. Followed that up, and that's why I talked about the PO3s. We took a PO3 entry on ZEC, one of the most bullish coins. I liked this range better for PO3s, but unfortunately results in a loss, and this was a huge factor on why I went stop loss to break even. So learn from this trade, went stop loss to break even on our next PO3. Then we have Bitcoin, which we took, and then after that we took Hyperliquid here. I will show you the trade. It was a very interesting model. Now you might be looking at this like, oh, it's a nice EHP model coming into a hidden order block right there at the top of nice extreme demand of the EHP tap. But and we talked about being in kind of that zoomed out state, not being in fight or flight where you're super zoomed in the chart. I can't remember exactly where I was, but during this trade, but if I would have zoomed out like we're going to look here, we can see the location of this Hyperliquid trade is not great. And although the model maybe looked good, what it doesn't have is great context. We have a hidden order block is all we really have. I wrote 1% loss, love this setup as an execution rep, and I did. I loved entering on the break, just the way we did it was a great execution rep. Result did not play out in our favor this time, and part of me was disappointed with the outcome. The higher self part of me knows that to be profitable in this game, you must have a system-based focus, and what better way to test how far your mind is at than with a loss we had perfect execution on. Sure, this model has some room of error, yes, and was zooming out, it has more room of error than I was giving it credit for at the time, and was also a weekend trade, so a lot of -1 stacking against us here. Roughly noted, sharpen our future trades. The collaboration with other traders on this was great. Just chalking it up to an execution rep. But when we kind of zoom out, we take a step back from wanting to take a trade, wanting to do good on this challenge, we can see that we are at EQ of our bigger macro range that had a PO3 that aggressively completed, but on a wick, and we are still in this range at EQ, kind of a no trade zone, I would say. And our order flow is now pointing down as our structure trending up from that wick has just broken aggressively back to bearish. And then we're trying to take a trade. Maybe we're trying to trade this into supply, but that's definitely just lower probability. So when you zoom out, you can see that not the best trade. Not the best trade. Learn from it, move on. Now, we try ZEC again here. And this is, I want to highlight this for myself. ZEC not on BitUnix. This is forcing. This is forcing a Wyckoff model onto here. You can even see the labelings, they're forced. The PSY is not a smooth market structure continuation. It's very small, and then the UT and the UTAD here. Model 1s, when you're trading TCT models, what I've found is that when your tap 2 and 3 are very close together, but it is a Model 1, it's a very low probability. lower probability for sure. Yes, the RTZ is decent, but this coin is curling up and ready to send. So we got to recognize that in the moment. The test is not clean either. This is all liquidity. So we're going to go to our ZEC chart here. So you can see our model here. I wrote here, the model is forcing the Wyckoff edge. I must feel the difference. I need to feel the difference when this Wyckoff edge is forced or when it is in flow and in coherence, like we saw on, you know, Solana, any of our trades, that XLM trade, the ICP trade, Bitcoin. You know, these are trades where we're not just like, I don't know, like I said, the top 2 and 3. What do we have here? Yeah, so let's talk about also the psychology side. So my mentor's name is Lars, creator of TCT. I took this with heavy influence that he did as well. Yeah, so lots of times, pretty much every single time I do that, I lose the trade. I'm fine with losing this one, as it comes with many lessons. If a coin is showing this much strength, to bet on the reversal, I need to see a picture-perfect model. And the least high probability model, which is a Model 1, close tap 2 and 3, is not going to cut it. These types of models would have a lower win rate. And furthermore, just because this coin is on a 6th bullish day, does not mean it's +1 to short. Might even be the opposite for a breakout. Another lesson is while we have lower probability M1 schematic, we also created buy side liquidity above the breaker structure and only put in structure supply lower than the 3rd tap. In this case, only gives a small reaction down before price went for that buy side liquidity, stopping us out. So what I mean by that is we just have liquidity above our entry. Our breaker structure is right here. We had this structure supply. We come up, test it, and then immediately go for that liquidity, which is probably engineered to go higher. You know, take out all the shorts, like myself, who is shorting here, and use it for fuel to go higher. So great lessons learned here. Not upset that I took the trade. Definitely was more of a forced trade, but it's great to review it. Then finally we have our ICP trades. This is our break-even PO3, and then we have our trade here. So this will be higher. If I was to guess, our stop loss is at break even. We've realized 3.4 RR, but we have some running, and same with Bitcoin here. Let's go back to Bitcoin. For a second. So here we have Bitcoin. We still have this running. I can't remember where price is exactly. I'm not going to play it out, but we're going to capture this for the journal. Let's throw this in here to make sure this is clean. Which one is this? This is ICP. Okay, well, we can do that as well. ICP was a 5-star. We can do ICP as well. So we're keeping the journal absolutely clean here. Sticking to the plan on all these models. We'll write in later, but now we can see our equity curve. Steadily building. We had that explosion after starting off rough. We're up over 20 RR right now with potentially more. Maybe if we closed our positions right now, potentially up 25 RR. Our win rate is not the best at 35%. Granted, we just took another loss, but maybe I'll give a sneak peek of that at the end of the video. So we've gone through, we've updated the journal, we have dissected ICP and Bitcoin. I guess we can show one more thing on Bitcoin here that I didn't have, that I was using my TA at the time, but I was looking at an SMT here, bearish divergence with ETH, and I can show that right here. So to add the confluence to the Bitcoin short, here's Bitcoin. I just haven't played it out. This is like time of entry. This, you can't do both. So we can just kind of look at this SMT bearish divergence between ETH breaking structure here and breaking structure here, while Bitcoin is doing the same. So not taking this swing point where Bitcoin is taking the swing point, kind of signaling that this sweep of this point is going to be manipulation and market makers are going to sell off. So I just thought that was an interesting little gem right there. And to cap off this video, this is where I'm going to, for anyone listening to this, I'm going to reveal my brand new mental model. So here's the mental model that I'm working with right now. This is subject and I'm always working on this, but number one, key, execute on your TA from flow, not ego. Stack confluences and execute with conviction. So this is basically just on the TA side, but you always want to, you know, be dialed in with that. Number two is where we start to get into the psychology side. Sorry, I got interrupted there for a second. Once in a trade, run a slide or visualization of the trade hitting your take profit and how you want PA to develop. Draw it out if that helps. So that's kind of what we did on Bitcoin. We drew it out and we visualized it. Third, release and surrender the outcome of this particular trade to the field, God, the market, whatever you will. Understand that there is nothing more you can do, and win or lose, the outcome will be for your highest good. 4, reduce the inner and outer importance you put on this trade and trading in general to low levels to not activate balanced forces against you. This is a reality transferring principle. Number 5, through the whole process, embody the intention of the undeniable will to win. This aligns you with your chosen lifeline. No doubt, no needy energy, and it bypasses fear and pendulum activity. That's also a reality transferring principle. Number 6, align your energy always with being a successful, profitable trader now, even if you are not one in linear time in the present. This will activate the law of attraction in your favor as you only receive who you're being and not what you want. 7, have a deep knowing that your success as a trader does not come from one singular trade, but from many trades over time. This will switch you out of the fight or flight nervous system and into the surrender state. So this is a mental model that I'm working with and applying it to all trades that we've taken. For example, on ICP, this is my thought process at the time. Kind of put it for the record here, but this is kind of what I was thinking at the time. So we've been going for a while now, so we're gonna end the video there. We have one more video coming up that will kind of cap off this series and wrap up our last trade that we can maybe give a sneak peek of right now. But all right, I've been CJ, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.